Check out this crazy knife, guys. This thing is bonkers. We are going to have a blast talking about this Kevin John Venom Harpoon. What a cool looking knife. So this is a knife. It's made in China by Kevin John. And Kevin John, regardless of his kind of weird name, is known for doing a lot of very neat things with his knives. He does a lot of innovative things. They also do some very technical machining, which you can kind of see is going on here, and I can't wait to talk about with you guys. This has some cool stuff in it, but it also has some kind of oddball, annoying stuff that would make me stop and say, I'm not sure if I recommend this for your average knife enthusiast, but it is a cool piece to have nonetheless. So let's get some specs out of the way. Let's do the boring stuff. Let's do the plain Jane stuff. We'll get through it quick. I promise. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I want to show you what's going on with this knife. 4 inches, almost 4 inches blade length. Overall length is 8 3/4 roughly. Exactly, 8 3/4. So good blade to handle ratio on this knife. The weight on this bad dog, 5.4 ounces. So not too bad. This knife is rocking M390 bead blast drop point blade. About medium thickness there. It's got an opening hole that works for regular thumb flick and reverse flick. And of course it's got a flipper tab right here, and look how high that flipper is. It is above the center of this pivot here. So that's going to give you a lot of leverage for some really good action. Running on bearings like you would imagine on a knife like this. An interesting thing is you can remove this flipper tab. You can see right here, it is a separate piece. It's actually anodized blue, and you can see the hint of a screw right there. So you could take this apart and you could remove this flipper tab. Now that's a similar thing to my District 9 Marauder. However, this didn't come with any filler tabs or any extra parts. So I don't know what that would look like without this flipper being on there. But if you want to convert this to a thumb opening or reverse flick opening only knife, you can do that. I have no plans to, but you can do that. Let's move on down. Look at this pivot. Custom pivot right here. And then look at this side. What is going on here? How do you take this apart? How do you undo this? Well, this is actually hinged right here. So this top piece, the smaller piece, you can pry this up. It'll pop up. I don't want to do it right now because it kind of scratches it and I don't need to. But you can pop this up and then you can take this tab and you can twist it and unscrew this pivot. That's how you get it undone and how you can tighten and adjust it. So kind of a cool system here. Very unique looking, very custom pivot system, but also functional. You could actually do this out in the field. If you had another knife or sharp object, you could pop that up and you could adjust this pivot if you're out somewhere and you don't have a tool. So kind of interesting. This is a liner lock. I guess you would call this a liner lock because this is technically a scale. And so then you have just really thick titanium liners in there. Or I don't know. I guess that's the closest thing I can think of. It wouldn't be a frame lock, even though if you removed these scales, it would still kind of function as a frame lock. So it's kind of a frame lock with overlays, however you want to regard that. This comes in a few different configurations. This is by far the coolest looking one because of this awesome titanium overlay scale here. It looks like it's 2 pieces, but it is not. The machining is that tight. So all of these little crevices in here are all machined from a single piece of titanium. And I'm talking about the gray part right here, the stonewashed gray part, not the blue underneath. That is all one piece, but it looks like it's multiple layers there. Very, very cool. That's the primary reason why I picked it up. It just looks so freaking cool. And then underneath you have more titanium that has a line milling pattern on it, anodized blue. Titanium backspacer, kind of going for a floating type look to it, although I wouldn't quite consider that a floating backspacer, but somewhat similar in how it's coming across. Lanyard hole right there for any of your lanyard needs. The action is fantastic. Detent is fantastic. Everything works flawlessly. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is this pocket clip. It's a milled titanium pocket clip, but as you can see, it is recessed into this overlay right here. And in order to use this pocket clip, it's on a hinge with a spring, and you pop it up, and then you can put it in your pocket. So it is kind of cool, but it's also kind of difficult to use. Even if you press this hard, and it takes a good amount of force, it can be kind of tricky to get this over your pants. But the bigger piece is that even if you do, it's only going to about here, because you can see how it just diminishes down to nothing. And this back piece does not pop up. So when you put this in your pocket, you're looking at about right here. So not deep at all. A huge portion of this is going to be hanging out of your pocket. In my opinion, it's an interesting concept, and it's cool how it disappears like that, but it just wasn't quite executed as well as it should have been. It's not very functional. Looks cool. Interesting idea, but just not very functional. I think if they would have maybe not gone so far, maybe not inset it quite as much as they did, or if it could somehow kind of have another layer where this back piece would kind of pop out as well. Maybe if it had a spring in it that was pushing the back part down, so that when it was in your pocket, it really kind of raised up like a normal pocket clip all the way. But as it stands right now, it just doesn't work that well. It only goes to about there. That is the only thing that really bugs me with this knife. Everything else, function, size, materials, action, and especially the machining and quality is top notch. That pocket clip, though, in my opinion, is a bit of a miss. So let me know down below, what do you think of the Venom Harpoon? Is the looks good enough to overcome that weird pocket clip? Let me know in the comments down below. Till the next video, I'm out.